Hello, everyone. Paul here from Fixing Foundations. I want to make this video to reflect on where I was in the past, where I am now, and where I plan on going in the future. Now, when I was in high school, for my last year, I took a pre-calculus class, and I did quite well in that class, and I even recall helping some of the other students. They would struggle with certain problems, and I was encouraged by my teacher to go around the classroom and give instruction to the students who were struggling. And I felt very satisfied when I was doing this. And I felt like, I was pretty good at mathematics. I may even dare to say that I was showing some kind of natural ability in this subject. But when I graduated high school and I went into college, I made the decision to take a 6 credit math class, 7 credits if you count the lab. I think it was a combination of both pre-calculus and calculus. And I did not do well in that class. I believe I wound up dropping it. And if I recall correctly, I was at least making some kind of effort to understand the material. And I would ask questions in class, and I recall the students laughing after I asked the questions. Now, I think back to this experience, and I'm not honestly sure if they were laughing at me or they were laughing at the professor because that professor had an accent, or maybe it was both. But either way, they would laugh when I asked questions. I certainly did not like the way that felt, and I wound up dropping that class entirely. But a little later on in my college career, maybe when I was about 18 or 19, I think I may have been 19 at this time, I wound up taking I think it was algebra and trigonometry. Maybe it was considered college algebra. I think the exact class name was like Math 123 or something like that. I take that class, I do pretty well in it. In fact, I go into it with a pretty solid understanding of most of the topics that were in that class. And I would even walk out of the room for 15, 20 minutes at a time. And the teacher would become pretty frustrated with me. He said, I catch you walking out of the room. And I say, look, I kind of already know a lot of this stuff. And later on, I would actually wind up making a sort of agreement with that teacher because there were a lot of students struggling with that class. And I said, look, I'm thinking about becoming a tutor. I would like to volunteer to host free study sessions for your class so I can show up 30 minutes before the class starts. Any students who have the time to come can come. I will answer questions for free, and hopefully I will be able to get some potential clients. I don't know if I mentioned that part to him, but that was my intention at least. And he agreed, and I would host these study sessions before class, and a few students would show up, and I think one of them asked why I was doing it. He's like, well, why did you agree to do this? And I said, well, I'm thinking about becoming a mathematics tutor, and I was thinking this would be a good way for me to potentially find someone who might want to pay for my services. And right away, he basically said, oh, I'll hire you. And he hired me for a few lessons, and I was paid quite generously for them. And I felt really good about that. And then I had the thought that this is what I want to do. I want to be a mathematics tutor. But soon that class would be over, and I wouldn't find any more clients for tutoring, either because I wasn't disciplined enough or it was really hard. Probably the former, if I'm being honest with myself. And I would move on to take pre-calculus that summer. I did pretty well in that. And I decided to challenge myself to take calculus. I said, I feel like I have what it takes now to do this. And I do not do any research on who I'm going to have as a professor. I have a friend who warns me. He says, do not take this guy. I'm not going to say his name, but he says, do not take this guy when you take calculus. So I'm signing up for my classes and I'm looking at the professor names and I see one professor, it just says staff. There's no actual name. And I believe he's hiding his name, but I have a suspicion that it's the professor that I was warned about. And I don't take that warning seriously. And I say, I really want to challenge myself. And I go into that class, and I think maybe it starts with 20 students, maybe. There were quite a few. And towards the end of that class, I believe there were only 6 students. And I don't think he passed any single one of us. And ever since that point, I had made no further effort to study mathematics in college. That might not be entirely true because for the last semester, I actually was thinking about taking statistics, but I was warned, I was cautioned by my guidance counselor not to take it. And I think I even said, no, I want to take it anyway, but she didn't put me down for the class. And finally, I agreed. I'm like, okay, I'll take something easier because at the end of this semester, I will be done with college. At least I should be. I expect to pass everything. So this is going to be the end of my college career. But for the last 6 years, I don't think I've taken a math class in a official college setting. I've sort of done a little bit of on and off studying, but nothing really that serious. And I am titling this video, I Failed Mathematics, because I had this goal of becoming a math tutor, and I was not consistent with it. It's something that I still want to do, and for the last 6 years, maybe even 7 years, I do not feel like I have made any meaningful progress towards this goal. And I'm making this video because perhaps you're struggling with mathematics, maybe not for the same reasons I'm struggling, but persistence is the number one factor that determines whether you will be successful in mathematics or not. And it's something that I know I have not had over the years. I've basically given up on this goal of becoming a math tutor. And I am making this video to renew my commitment to becoming a mathematics tutor. And I'm going to make a deal with myself and any viewers who are watching this video. And this deal is I will be uploading at least 3 times per week. I plan on creating a course, a full course about college algebra, because I really want to obtain a deep mastery of this subject. This content might not be the most original content. I'm sure there's plenty of other courses for college algebra on YouTube, but I'm really making it for myself. I'm really making it so that I can learn. And as such, I'm going to give you a little warning that the material in my videos, or at least the way I present them, might not be perfect. But that is okay because there's actually another lesson in there that you can learn from as well. And that is, you may be taking a math test and you may see a question and you may freeze up. You might not know the perfect way of answering that question, but you should at least make some effort to show your work. And that's what I'm going to have to do with these videos. They might not be perfect. In fact, I'm not expecting them to be perfect. But through the process of me making these videos, I am going to learn. I certainly hope that you can learn as well. And if you would like to join me on this quest, I want to call it a quest, to learn about college algebra, to master this subject, then I encourage you to join me. And I would also appreciate if you can hold me accountable to this goal because, for 6 years, I don't really feel like I've made any meaningful progress towards any real goal. And I do want to become a mathematics tutor. So I look forward to working with you. I thank you for watching this video, and I hope that we can both grow and learn in the field of mathematics. Thank you very much for watching.